Now, I assume at some stage you would have asked the question, why should I do the course? Well, it's a good question, and this section is all about answering that question, looking at the why and the benefits that not only your clients, but what will you receive from it. The one thing we do know is that life in the 21st century has become a truly hectic challenge. There's so much to juggle around just to make sure we don't sink, to keep our heads above water, just to keep control. And very often we ask a question, how much of my own life and dreams that have I put on hold because there's external events that have now influenced me and taken away a lot of my time. And as humans, I know we try and do our best. We try and do our best in our jobs, our marriages, all areas of our lives. The list is a very long list if you look at all the components of our life. And we really go all out to just to keep our heads above water, to cope with all this franticness that's going around us. And this will create extremely high stress levels. It will really put us in a time of stress and anxiety and sometimes even depression. And one of the biggest reasons for all of this stress is the volume, the amount, the magnitude of all the decisions that lie ahead of us. We constantly have to make decisions about every area of our lives. And for many people, this has really become a confusing and a stressful time. And for me, simply, life coaching is the medicine that's available, and it gives us the results that we're looking for. The thing that I personally really love about coaching is that it offers almost like a personal and powerful relationship between the coach and the coachee that really focuses on knowing, understanding, having steps, doing the things we want to do, and being who and what we want to be in this life. It really creates a concept of clarity, clear focus of where we're going, a very specific direction. So the results are amazing because what we find is everything in our lives is better. Our personal relationships are enhanced. There's more satisfaction. We don't procrastinate so much. There's fewer stops and bad decisions on the way, and life becomes a more balanced and fulfilling experience. You know, very often we're looking for those bigger, those faster results, and that's what life coaching can offer us. It increases our own personal productivity, and obviously a result of that is greater earnings. And if I combine all the benefits, it gives me a sense of passion. It gives me a sense of feeling more energized and passionate about life. And that's one of the things that I found very attractive about life coaching and still find extremely satisfying, is that very positive, passionate outcomes that we experience. I want to talk about a few beliefs that I hold on to. Now, these are empowering beliefs, certain beliefs that I hold on to when I teach about these beliefs because these core beliefs have made me a better coach. It has made me more successful. So these are beliefs I hold about self, but when I coach, inside of the coaching process, a lot of these beliefs come to the surface and I use them as a strategy or a framework in which I coach. And one of the most important ones are that every person, you and me, we are capable of making life-changing decisions. And if we make life-changing decisions and powerful decisions, the results are just amazing. And we very often believe that because I've made certain decisions in the past, that is the end of my decision-making process and my life is now going to be a result of that. No, we can change our life. We can make new decisions and we can have really amazing results. And we need to believe that we are capable of a variety and different solutions. We can generate solutions that are right for each one of us. My solutions are right for me, your solutions are right for you, and your client's solutions are right for them. And every person is capable of creating solutions that is right for them. One of the beliefs that I really hold on to is that inside of us, we have a massive amount of resources and capabilities, skills and talents. And these resources are more and more powerful than you can ever really dream. You see, we don't know what we're really capable of unless we push ourselves to that next level. We only learn about ourselves when we put ourselves in a little bit of an uncomfortable situation and push ourselves to our own limits. And coaching does that for me. It pushes me to be a better version of me. The next belief that I hold on to is that every person has their own strategy, their own plan, their own agenda about life. And I don't have to force my agenda down on others. I don't have to accept other people's agendas. But when I coach, I accept that everybody has their own agenda, and I coach my clients accordingly. I coach them according to their own agendas, because we're all unique. We all have our own characteristics, our own traits, our own talents and capabilities. So the moment I understand that and I believe that, then I can coach my client according to their agenda, using their uniqueness, their own unique characteristics. So to a certain extent, I sometimes see life as a canvas. If you've ever seen an artist create a beautiful painting, then there's a concept in their brains, but once they put that brush on the canvas and they start painting, they start creating, then and only then can you see the magnificence of what's happening in front of you. So when we look at life, see life as a canvas that's ready for improvement, a canvas that wants and screams for creativity. And that allows us to really approach coaching from this attitude of betterment and improvement. Now, one of the things when we do coach is to realize that we as coaches don't have to judge our clients, and they don't judge us. In fact, as human beings, I don't believe we have the right to judge others. We are all capable of what we are in our own rights. We all have our own talents, and we're all beautiful, amazing individuals. And inside of that, if we really grasp that concept, then the reality about life is very simplistic, because then we start to realize that I'm responsible for the results and the experiences I have in my own life. I'm the one that's accountable for what happens to me, around me, and what I create. The decisions I make is the direction. The behavior I take are the steps, and that creates my life, my experience. And to really grasp this concept, understand that you've been given talents, you've been given senses, you've been given a magnitude of opportunities and resources that's available, and use them to the best and to your best and full capability in your life. There's a very old saying that I heard many years ago, and I've really based a lot of my life on that, and that is that mediocrity is unacceptable by the mediocre. And I don't believe I'm mediocre, and I don't believe my clients are, and neither are you. So let's not live a mediocre life with restrictions and just normal routines, boring routines over and over. Let's live life to its absolute fullest, to the amazingness that it does offer. So allow me just to challenge you a little bit, because very often if we ask ourselves the correct questions, we can start to understand ourselves better. We can start to understand who we are. Where are we going? You know, what are we supposed to do on this earth? What's the purpose of me being here? And once we start getting answers to those things, that gives us the direction of where we're going. It starts giving us more clarity. So my first question is, what value have you placed on yourself? And how does that value reflect who you are, and what are you prepared to settle for? I found people in life very often that settle for second best. They settle for a job that pays a little bit less than what they really wanted. They settle for mediocre relationships. They settle for less than what they can really achieve. And if we understand that whatever I settle for is a direct reflection of the value that I've placed on myself, then we start looking at life from a different perspective. The next question I want to ask you is, what do you focus most of your attention on? So if I would say, about, let's say, 70 or to 80% of your day, of your life in general, of your internal dialogue, of your thoughts. All these questions that you ask yourself, what are they focused on? What are your behaviors focused on? Where is your magnifying glass about life? 80% of the time, what is it you're focusing on? Because whatever that focus is on, that is what you're going to get more of. If you're going to be focusing on the problems about life, if you're going to be focusing on the challenges and the stress or the potential negative things that's lying ahead, then what you'll find is more of those. If you're focusing most of your attention on what's beautiful, amazing, achievable, direction where you're going, then what you'll find is obviously more of that. My next question is a bit of a challenging one, and that is, if you look at all the capabilities you have, if you look at all the talents, the gifts, the resources you have, I very often ask myself a question and say, am I using what I've got? Am I using my talents? Am I using my gifts? I've been given these gifts and these talents. Am I actually applying them? Because what you'll find in life is, if you're using the gifts and the talents you have, then whatever you're doing, you'll be doing it well. Remember now, talent and a gift is something that differentiates you from other people. It makes you just a fraction better in certain areas. If we play our strengths in life, life becomes more beautiful and life becomes better. Because that gives me the direction. That tells me, where am I going with my life? So if I would ask you the question, where are you going with your life? Then the answer should be aligned with the gifts and the talents and the capabilities and the focus that you have. It should give you a reflection of what do you focus on and what value you've placed on yourself. So in simple terms, you could ask yourself the question, what am I doing in my life that reflects my values and my beliefs? Another way of looking at the same question is, what is the legacy that I'm going to leave behind? 50 years, 100 years after you've left this rock, if people remember you or talk to you, what is it they're going to say about you? What's that legacy that we can leave behind? Something that's so amazing that it will linger even when we're gone. Now, one of the things that I've done in my life is I've chosen some inspirational characters. I've chosen some people that I look at and I see inside of them very specific behaviors, very specific character traits that I feel are powerful, that are encouraging, that's inspirational, and I try and follow and in certain cases even mimic them. So I often ask my clients, who's the inspirational characters in your life that you follow and that you try and mimic in certain areas? Because this allows us to focus our attention on behaviors and thought patterns that are truly empowering. And it has a secondary result where it starts creating new habits and empowering habits, habits that spontaneously allow us to make different decisions, better decisions, and act and behave in a better way. The flip side of that is a question we need to ask, and that is, are there certain habits, actions, and things in my life that I'm still holding on to, but I should have let go of them a while ago already? So what is there that you're holding on to strongly? Habits, behaviors, possibly even internal dialogues that you're still holding on to. You should have let them go by now, but yet you haven't. So what are those things that's holding you back? Get rid of those and install powerful and empowering beliefs and habits. The other question that we have to ask, and this one I really love, is what would I have achieved if I knew I could never fail? I'll ask that question again. What would I have achieved if I knew I could never fail? And I often ask this question to people, and the answers are profound. Now, if you're extremely honest to self and you ask yourself that question, if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you have done differently? What would that answer be? How differently would you behave? What are some of those steps that you would have taken? Now, appreciate that we have to take, reality in consideration. We have to be smart about our goals. We have to ensure that these things are achievable. But this is a question we need to ask, and we need to constantly ask ourselves this question, because if we don't, then we fall into a routine and we fall back into mediocrity. The one last question that I ask myself, and again one of these that I really ask myself on a regular basis, it empowers me, and that is, what is that one single thing, just one thing, that should I change it, it would have an immediate impact or a change in my life for the better? So what is that one thing, should you change it, your life would immediately change for the better? What is that one single thing that you couldn't do? Now, very often I ask this question and the answer I get is, no, I can't think of anything now. But if you had to think of something now, what would that one thing be? Because there's always something we can change. What is that one thing that can change that's going to give you better results in your life? Now, here's the beauty of this section. If you've gone through this section now and you've listened to my questions, and each time you heard the question, you read it on the screen, and you felt some kind of a gravitation, an unction, a drawing, or a pulling towards inside of you that said something about this is something I need, then you're that right person. You're the person that's got the passion to become a life coach. Because a life coach, inside of us, we need to realize two things. One, we must challenge ourselves as human beings, and there's got to be this pulling, this gravitation inside of us to want to be better, to want to have better skills and capabilities. But we must be so enthused by it that it rubs off on others. Very often my clients feel empowered and amazing when they leave a coaching session, simply because of this passion that I have about coaching, the passion that I carry about life. Because that enthusiasm is extremely contagious, and that's what clients are looking for in this world. They don't want someone that's just bored and is going to sit and complain. They want someone that's passionate about life. So if you've gone through this section now and you're feeling that passion, you're going to be a great coach.